Are you a new or aspiring entrepreneur and you're scared just to take that first step? Risk can be scary, especially in business when you don't know when the payoff will come. But on today's episode, I have a good friend, Michael Streight. He has taken bold risk in starting his fitness brand.
I feel like the analogy that I kind of visualize and see, and I feel like was from the Lord, was throwing the rock in the water. So when you throw a rock in the water, it starts with a small ripple. That first ripple of risk was sitting down with my dad at Starbucks and telling him my business proposal and asking for an investment to help build out my garage into a training space.
What once started in a garage has turned into thousands of square feet of training space and a concierge on-the-go service that is reaching high-end clientele for his luxury business.
When we took over our studio space, it was actually already like 4,000 square feet. So we put up a demising wall down the middle to make it smaller because I didn't feel comfortable taking that full calculated risk of all this space. So we just took over 2,300. But now we're busting out that wall that we put up because
that's amazing.
It's like, well, man, it would have been nice if I would have just never put this wall up in the first place, but that's not where God had us yet.
If you've been having a hard time figuring out your next step in business, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Faithustle Podcast. I am so excited for today's conversation. My name is McQuinn. I'm your host. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years, and on this show, we get to bring business owners, content creators, investors, people who have excelled in the marketplace, who have a heart to build their business God's way. And it has been incredible to see all the different people that God has brought together. And today is no different. I have with me someone that went from being someone I knew from afar to someone who has become a dear friend to me. It's because of him that season 3, we've even been able to film these episodes in his studio space. But he is an incredible entrepreneur, has multiple businesses, wears many different hats, husband, father, but more importantly, just a man of God, someone who truly embodies what it means to have a faith hustle. And he is here on the show with us. We got Michael Streight.
What's up, man? Dude, we could just end it right there. That's
like,
great.
Yeah.
Wake up every day to that. Like, give me hypes.
Hey, you know what? That might be a business idea. It's like, I just hype you up and it's just a recording that you just play every morning. Hey, listen, nobody steal that idea.
That's good.
No, for real. All those things, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, man.
Dude. Well, thank you for having me in here. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming, and you've had a lot of stuff going on. You had your third baby.
Yes.
Sorry
if I look a little tired.
You think you're up for like 3-4 hours?
Last
night.
More so my wife. She's nursing. She's a rock star. She's the real MVP.
100%.
We're making it happen. Our 2 other crazy little boys are just like they're Tasmanian devils. I'm serious. They just run around and destroy everything, and but they love their little brother and they're excited to be big brothers. So,
I love it, man. That's awesome, man. It's a cool season of life, and I know that was a miracle story even with your third, which is awesome.
Yes, it definitely was. It's been a journey for sure.
I love it. And then you have multiple businesses, wear multiple different hats. You have your personal training business.
Yep.
And talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So we've got our personal training studio. It's called Luxury Lifestyle Training. It's right here in McKinney, Texas. I grew up here in McKinney, Texas. Been here for almost 30 years. So it's kind of iconic that like where our space is literally the street I've driven down probably over 10,000 times.
Dang.
And it's actually on the way to the church that I got baptized in.
No way. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, First McKinney, right?
That's awesome.
Towards downtown McKinney. And so now to actually be in a building and actually our space, I don't even know if you knew this, our space before we took it over was the Church of Christ.
Really?
And so like I drew a massive square map when we were looking for spaces, and A, this space is literally right in front of my neighborhood. B, like on the iconic street of Virginia Parkway of McKinney. And then C, like, man, God's already ordained and, blessed this place. So we hope and believe, of course. And so, I got the training business and then our gym design business. I build luxury, beautiful home gyms for people. It's called Lux Life Gyms Design.
Which is an incredible duo of both. And I mean, you have several trainers on your team, and you guys are expanding and growing. Like as we're talking, as this comes out, we're literally in the middle of expansion for you guys. You guys need more space for your gym. you guys are doing a creative space, almost like a co-working space, and creating more podcast rooms like this. And yeah, it's brilliant, man.
Yeah, actually, as you're saying that, this is the first anyone's gonna hear of it.
Oh, really?
For real, which is good. It's fine. It's perfect. So man, we could go deep down into that, but like, man, one of the themes I feel like God's telling me this year is to get out of the way. Like, just let him do his thing. Like, stop trying to rev it so high on red and myself, and just allow him to flourish and grow what I feel like he's called me to be, and where he has us. And there's a lot to that, but yeah, we're going to be expanding the gym studio, almost doubling the size, and then do just, again, like God's timing and grace and heart is we're going to also be taking over the space next door to it and moving out of this office and content creation space and doubling the size of our offices and our content creative studios. We're going to have 2 different spots. It's going to be called Lux Creative. So we got luxury lifestyle training, the Lux Life Gym Design, and in our Lux Creative space, we'll have some beautiful spots. So I'm excited.
I love it. And branding. I'm a sucker for branding. Yeah. So it's like, keep it consistent. Yeah. I love it, man.
Yeah. So it's going to be cool. But I mean, that was kind of, gosh, man, this was a couple years ago. Just we were talking about this before we got on, of just that toil. And I'm like, man, God, like, is this where you want me? You see the grass greener on the other side. And it's like, man, it's green where we water it. And there's no plan B for me. Like, this is all plan A, all chips on the table.
Come on.
And I feel like analogy or kind of vision that God gave me a few years back on a work trip out in California was just this root system. And my mission is to impact people's lives through a higher end training and lifestyle experience. And then the root system or kind of visions that he's given me are the training business, working on people's bodies, but of course, hopefully making a kingdom impact through their hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, even the colors of the way we chose purple for royalty, but even more importantly for Jesus. Yeah. And then just our 3 I's, to be intimate, intentional, and interactive with the way we steward relationships and the way we pursue people through their training programs. And then the other root system is our gym design company, building beautiful gym spaces within people's homes to be more present, more consistent within their daily schedules. And then the Lux Creative space. Like, I have just a heart and more of a personal passion to bring like-minded people to connect and be able to have intimate conversation through creating content or even podcasts. So those are kind of the branches I feel like God's kind of given me, and it's just me trying to get out of the way to allow him to do his thing.
I love that. Dude, I mean, honestly, we can go off from there. Because what I admire about you, and I often say this, I have a rule for my podcast, and I got it from, shout out to Chris Cook. One of these days I'm going to have him on. Yeah. He's a seasoned podcaster. He's been doing it. I mean, he may be going close to 10 years. I mean, he's beyond the 5-year mark, I'm pretty sure.
Come on, Chris.
Come on up. And he's amazing. Has had everybody you can think of on his podcast.
That's cool.
And from James Clear to John Bevere to a bunch of different folks. And one of the things he told me when I got into podcasting, he was like, hey, listen, like, you'll win if you only put out episodes that you would listen to, and you only bring on guests that you admire. So that's kind of my litmus test. Yeah. Would I listen to this content and this person, do I genuinely admire them? And man, like, one of the things I'd say I admire about you is your 2 things. One, your faith and your ability to just take risk, and which it's embedded in almost every entrepreneur. You kind of have to have that. But man, the way you wear it, and I know, like, some people are like, man, like, it doesn't feel like you go through anything. I'm like, oh, you should see me Monday morning. What do you mean? Like, it's like, no, like, you know what I mean?
But go grab a coffee, have a conversation.
Exactly. I'll tell you the stuff I'm going through. No, but like, just your confidence in the Lord, and you're like, listen, this is what God's asked me to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to give it everything I got. I admire that about you. And then your generous spirit, which I actually believe that it's a gift. I think we can all operate in generosity, but I think some people have a gift for it. And I'd say that you have that, which is biblical, the gift of generosity. But man, on the faith part first, and again, the context of this, people are listening to this, these are newer entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. They're probably in a zone where some of them are like right before they step out. And so they're kind of analyzing the risk,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe they're working their 9 to 5 and they're like, I'm really comfortable, but like I feel this thing in me, right? And then some people are in their year 1, year 2, like they're maybe in the middle of a risk and they're like, is this worth it? Right? What would you kind of, from your experience, what have you learned from taking the risk, taking the step of faith in your business and doing it with God that has propelled you? What have you learned from that you can kind of pass on to someone that, again, is maybe they're just about to kind of leap and they're kind of second guessing it, or they're like leapt and they're like, oh, dang, what did I just do?
Yeah,
you know
that's good. That's definitely a twofold. Two different seasons, different places.
Right, yeah.
And I would say I'm probably more in that second one, honestly, still, even as we expand and we're continuing to grow. But for the person that's really trying to like take off and they've got the fire in them, they feel it kindling, like they want to take that leap is... when I started my businesses, this was post-pandemic, and I saw an opportunity to create impact. So instead of seeing that kind of pandemic within the training space, instead of seeing it as a negative, I really saw it as a positive. So like, man, I can create this concierge coaching experience to go to people to create, to help eliminate excuse, not to corner them, but to add value to them.
I love that. Yeah.
And then... and build something out of that. And I feel like the analogy that I kind of visualize and see, and I feel like was from the Lord, was throwing the rock in the water. And so when you throw a rock in the water, it starts with a small ripple, and then it gets to a bigger ripple, and then there's more and more. And you can look back at that ripple and see how big it's got, but how small it started. And so I would say to that person that's wanting to start is like, what's the first ripple of risk that you feel comfortable taking? Because you're not going to get to the massive ripple tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Like, start with the first ripple of risk that you feel comfortable taking. For me, I, at that point, already had a wonderful wife. I've been married at that time for, 3 or 4 years. We're going on almost 10 years now of marriage. We had just had Jeremiah, my firstborn. My wife was pregnant with our second boy. And so the risks I was taking had a lot more sobriety than if I was just doing it on my own.
Of course. Yeah,
and everyone's story is different. But in that moment, I was like, okay, I can't just cash in everything because I've got to keep a roof over my kids and my wife's head. I've got to put food on the table. And so that first ripple of risk was sitting down with my dad at Starbucks and telling him my business proposal and asking for an investment to help build out my garage into a training space. And then from there was maxing out my schedule, bringing on somebody else. And then that led to us getting our studio to now more coaches. And so
I didn't know you started out of the garage. It's like Steve Jobs.
Bro, yes.
You're out of the garage,
like Disney and a bunch of them. So I'm like, yeah, come on. But no, for real. So, and I mean, dude, I had, amazing clients that have beautiful homes, been very successful, coming to my little 3-bed, two-bath house with my son running out in diapers in the middle of the workout. I'm like patting his butt, like, get back inside, buddy. He's like banging on the door from the inside. I just like turn the music up louder so they can't hear him.
It's like, no, this is where you can lock in. You know what I mean?
Promise we're not going to be here forever. But they believed in me, and they saw, the passion, the vision that I had, and the goals, and they wanted to, of course, support me, but also they wanted to be a part of that journey. Right. And we call a lot of those clients like the OGs, the OG LLTs. And so for that person, like, what's that first ripple of risk that you can take? Where could you start to just take that leap and fall forward? There's a video, if anyone's got kiddos out there, a movie, from Disney called Luca. I've shared this before, and my wife laughs when I share this because there's a point where Luca and his buddy are coming out of the water. They're like swim creatures on a Disney Pixar movie. And when he first gets out onto land and he drives into a person, that sounds really crazy, he doesn't know how to walk. And he just talks about his buddy's like, well, just stand up and stack your hips over your chest and just move your foot forward. And he goes to like take his next step, and he gets kind of scared, and then he catches himself, and then he just builds this confidence, and then he gets his next step and his next step. And then before you know it, he's not just falling, he's actually taking steps and walking and then starting to run. So what's that ripple of risk that you could take?
That's beautiful.
For that second person, man, that's in the middle, like, I would try to encourage them, and I'm even like probably looking in the mirror saying this to myself, is to look up, like look around and see the people that are cheering for you.
Wow.
That want you to succeed, your family, your friends, your church, your community. I've had to do that a lot and have to continue to do that. And just to say, like, man, they're not going to let you fail. They're not going to let you, stop or quit. Of course, there might be some counsel or wisdom needed there as you track through some of those trials and stuff. But to look up around you and just to be encouraged by the loved ones and the impact and see the impact that you're making, and then, begin to kind of adapt, overcome, and assess where's that next ripple of risk, or what do you need to kind of create or do to overcome maybe that space that you're in right now.
I love that. That's incredible breakdown of risk. I think that's brilliant, especially the first one of like, what's the first ripple? Because there are a lot of times, and especially if you are a visionary of any type, you imagine what it could be. So like,
oh gosh,
it's wild. Like the curse of a visionary. Maybe I'll write a book on that.
Yeah,
because like it really is.
I'll buy it.
Yeah, no, it's true because like it's the future feels more real than the present.
Dude.
So you almost have to reel yourself back into the present moment because it doesn't feel real. Like, it's beautiful. That's what keeps you moving forward. I think we talked about this of like, we had Brady Sheary on the show. He gave like, in my opinion, the best definition of entrepreneurship. He said it's calculated delusion. Yeah. Like it is delusional. There's calculation, but it's there. Like you have to be a little loose in the head to think that this can happen. But the future feels way more real than the present. But it can make it hard to take the first step because you're already imagining. Like for example, if you were to start and be like, all right, let me get the biggest loan I can and get a space that you're in now, expansion of, you know what I mean? It's like, that probably was in your head when you started. Yeah. But you couldn't start there. Yeah. No, dude, you're that third kind of caveat there that out of the 1 and 2 is that 3 is we actually, when we took over our studio space, it was actually already like 4,000 square feet. So we put up a demising wall down the middle to make it smaller because I didn't feel comfortable taking that full calculated risk of all this space. So we just took over 2,300. But now we're busting out that wall that we put up because that's amazing.
It's like, well, man, it would have been nice if I would have just never put this wall up in the first place. But that's not where God had us yet. And even as I tried to work on this expansion last year, and as I look back now, if I'm being honest with myself, there were more times that God was showing resistance and that it wasn't time, like the ripe wasn't ready yet. And just like fruit, like, it's in order for something to be able to eat it, you see it, you want to have that mango or that avocado, but like you got to wait until it's ripe, until it's ready for the harvest to be ready. And so as I look back at some of that plan last year to try to work on that expansion, it wasn't ready. I saw the vision. I was pressing hard for it, probably at some points too much of myself. Yeah. And, but now it's like, man, the way we're laying out the space now, that's turning in also to the connection piece of the Lux Creative is way better. God's plan, of course, is way better than the plan that I would have tried to force last year. Man. And so even in that is to be encouraged to, even as you step back and look like, okay, is there spaces where God's putting pause on me right now within my next ripple? And he's this next ripple he probably wants, but where does he want it? Not what I think. What's the vision, that future that I see, but how does God align with that and want it to move forward?
Friend, really quick before we keep going, if you're enjoying the conversation we're having in this episode, you're going to love what we have inside the Faith Hustle Network. What's the Faith Hustle Network? I'm glad you asked. It's more than a podcast. It is a growing community of faith-driven entrepreneurs looking to do business God's way. We do weekly Bible studies, Friday strategy calls, and network with each other in our chats. You even get access to the people that you see on the show to ask your questions in real time and hear their wisdom and strategy that can help your business. Whether you're just getting started or you're scaling something big, this is where faith and business meet. If that describes you, tap the link in the description and get in the room today. Now enjoy the rest of the episode. I love that analogy of ripples. Yeah. Because it's so practical. Like, the risk will get bigger and bigger. The reward will get bigger and bigger for the risk. But it's like, okay, how do I manage this here? How do I man? Honestly, and I mean, even as you're talking, I can think of scenarios and people who are listening where they're at. Some of it's also manage the expectations and discipline yourself, because there can be comparison that sets in of like, man, their year one feels like they went. Like I have some really good friends. They have an incredible roofing company. Shout out to Alpha Roofing. But their first year, they hit 7 figures. Yeah. And there's part of my heart I had to like hold up. Like I'm celebrating them, and I still do to this day. I celebrate them. But it's like, man, that was their year one. You know, like I'm just like, but like it's not apples to apples. Yeah. And regardless of that was the capacity that they have. And it's like, that's not my story. Yeah. And that's okay. Like managing the expectation of what this ripple is, and knowing, okay, if I steward this well, it's going to lead to the next one, and the next one. But I think I have seen where God has slowed me down, has slowed other people down. Where it's like, okay, like you got this ambition, this is great, you have this vision, that's awesome. But like, hey, I need you to be really good in this garage. Like I need you to be I need you to be like I want you to like maximize it, like to the point where it's like, okay, we're gonna need a miracle because like we're running out.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you saw my garage now, it does not look as good or as clean. There's kid toys and bikes and
probably
scooters.
minivans now. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't got a minivan yet.
Okay.
I tried to get my wife to do the minivan. So yeah, we got a Tahoe though, which is great.
Hey, Tahoe's great.
Man, like we even kind of talked about this before, that there's so much noise and a lot of good out there about business coaching and how to take your next steps and to be strategic and all those things, but like sometimes that can be really daunting and just overwhelming, and it doesn't like connect with you. And so like, you know, even with the ripple, like you can compare that to like, okay, what's our year plan, and then what's our quarterly? How do we do that quarterly, and how do we do that monthly? How do we do that weekly? What do I need to do today? Like there's there's EOS, there's a lot of business coaching platforms and things out there that help you kind of see the big picture and then rewind on how do we start with that today. But the ripple analogy just kind of, I don't know, it makes more of a personal connection for me to see something that just hits a little bit more home, that's not so like businessy strategic, and a little bit more that ties in with vision. That's like, okay, this is what I can do today to help get me to that next ripple that I believe will happen or hope will happen over the next month, year, 5 years.
I love that. I think being incremental with it.
Yeah.
And again, I think it takes self-control. I think it takes self-control of your ambition. Yeah. To take it step by step, because we want to take leaps. We want to run. Yeah. Whereas like, hey, you got to crawl first, and then you got to figure out how to walk, and then, you know, and so I think that's brilliant. So okay, so walk me through. You're in your garage, and then the next step of faith is this space. But then again, you say you also have you're building out these home gyms. Yeah. How did that come about?
Man, so again, through creating luxury lifestyle training and kind of this concierge coaching high-end experience was to help eliminate excuse, to meet people where they're at, to create an intimate, intentional, interactive training experience where people come for the workouts but stay for their relationships and all of that. So even with our gym design side, it really just led into people and working with a great clientele base that has, sometimes a little bit more of a disposable income. That's like, oh, I want someone to get equipment in my house. And can you help me do that? And they already know, like, and trust you. So being able to tap into the opportunity of like, yeah, I think I could help. And as I went through a couple of years, I sat down with my dad. I'm like, Dad, I've done like this build and this. And I'm like, man, I could make some money doing this maybe and make a business out of this. And so we officially launched Lux Life Gym Design. We design, build, and renovate custom, private, elevated gym spaces. But again, like just helping eliminate excuse, add value to people where they want it or need it. And it's really like being an interior designer for gym spaces. We want to bring in a very aesthetically pleasing connection and vibe to the rest of the beauty of the home, or we're working into getting into some more development projects, multifamily, corporate tenant gyms, amenity centers. And so like, what's the aesthetic like? What are we trying to accomplish fitness wise? So of course we believe kind of having a fitness professional mindset first, and then the designer mind second, is we can really talk through the functionality and the flow of the space, what type of training styles or modalities those end users are going to accomplish, and then make it all kind of beautifully come to life together. We have a 4-step process: our discover, design, decision, distinction. And so we walk through with those clients through that discovery phase, and then do 2D and 3D rendering visuals and get the equipment list, the logistics, install, all that stuff. It's just a dance, man. It's just it's can be stressful at times, but it's a lot of fun.
But it's brilliant. I mean, I gotta imagine that, and I love to, if you have any of pictures from it, I love to show them, for people to see, of different ones that you've done. But I gotta imagine that both kind of feed into each other a bit. Where are you seeing some, like, hey, you have these clients you're working with them, they're like, hey, I actually would love to just put this in my own gym, are you finding that like it's feeding each other?
Yeah, no, for sure. It definitely does. And we make it very clear, like, hey, these are sister companies. Like, we own both of these, but we just finished up a multi-6-figure project for a client outside of the Dallas area that was first a personal training client of ours.
Wow.
That is doing a huge, just insanely beautiful kind of remodel of their land and their property. And part of that is a barndominium gym space. And so we got to gut that, redo
those barndominiums are crazy.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, the gym's like bigger than our gym here. It's awesome. It's beautiful. We just finished it. But
you're like, man, this should be nice. Can I rent from y'all?
It's for real. Like, can I come coach here?
Yeah, exactly.
But and then a concierge coach still trains them, and then vice versa. We've had clients that hire us to do their gym build, and then we're just like, hey, do you work with a trainer? Do you do some programming? We've got a great concierge coaching staff. Like, we actually now know the equipment that you're using and can really program amazing workouts and training styles to make sure that you really use this space efficiently and really well. And so they'll work with us that way. And then same getting into the corporate sector and kind of amenity. A big vision of ours is kind of this evangelical growth of building consulting and corporate relationships with amenity centers and corporate facilities to bring in professionals. And then a lot of times that leads to a gym build opportunity and then bringing in professionals. So just adding value to places that need something within the space and the place that we're in. So.
There's so many things about that is such wisdom. Like, one, fulfilling the needs that you see. You know what I mean? Of how it's like, oh, you just did one, like, hold up, there's something here, and how you're fulfilling the need and you're getting close to the problem, and then finding the solution within that. Because I feel like sometimes I've seen a lot of people build out solutions that like no one really asked for. Yeah. Like, they weren't really that wasn't really a problem, but like you kind of being close to it to be like, oh man, we can do that. Yeah. And I just think that's brilliant. And I think that's like anyone can learn from. Is like whatever industry you're in, like be close to it enough to start listening into like where they're, because I'm sure people like we're training like, man, like I wish I could do this from here, or like it's a long drive, were you listening for that stuff?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like, again, helping eliminate that excuse of like, well, hey, we can come to you. Like, we can have one of our concierge coaches come to you, or we can help you do some programming online, or even just have some accountability coaching. And I think I loved on one of the podcasts you had with the gentleman that has the restaurants in Fort Worth.
Oh, Marty.
Yes,
Bryant,
where he said, like, you guys were talking about, like, man, God's called you to something, but you got the car in park.
Yeah.
But like, you got to put it in drive and drive. So in a very like-minded way, it's like, man, go where you see that you could help solve a problem with a solution, and then come with integrity, vulnerability, and honesty. And people are going to see that. They're going to sense it. Like, hey, I don't know everything, but here's what I do know, and here's what I have a passion for, and here's the impact I want to possibly create within this space or within this place, and kind of cast that solution to someone's problem and add that value. And that, man, I literally, like, I walk into like corporate buildings or facilities that I see a gym, I'll be driving by and I'm like, babe, did you see that? I'm like, did you see the gym in that building right there?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh gosh, here we go. But like, I will on a work day, I will go back to that place and say, hey, I saw a gym driving by this past weekend, going on a date with my wife, and just wanted to see, do you guys have any fitness professionals that come in here and offer value from classes or training? And they're like, oh, no, we don't. And it's like, well, hey.
There we go.
And it's it's just being honest, being open, and helping add value to a problem that you think you could really give a solution to. I mean, that is entrepreneurship. Like, you got to get out there.
I love it. It is having the eyes to see what's missing in the marketplace, and really it's the heart to, like, again, to solve problems. It's like, hey, like, you have this gift, you have this ability to train, right? This and you're finding different avenues to be able to fill that. I think it's brilliant. So that's one thing that I love about that. The other thing is, like, even hearing you say words like concierge concierge trainer, that is not by accident. I know that is intentional. Like, language is intentional, and just building out a team to fulfill an experience. I mean, I just think that is so, like, brilliant. Yeah. How big is the team right now?
We've got about 6-7 total. Studio director, operations director, and then about 5 other coaches. And then we're working on expanding that into, like, our provider network with other professionals too.
I love that. I just think the way you've gone about it, even in how you call it and how you look at them, is almost like, it's like, hey, like, we're at your service.
Yes.
That is a whole different mindset shift. That's a culture thing. Yeah. That you're embedding in, of like, hey, hey, this is just a trainer that can just show you how to do work. No, like, this is concierge service. We're gonna come in and bring our experience here to where you are. Like, that I just don't want nobody missed. That's intentional. Yeah. And then, like, so, like, whatever you do, put intentional language, make an intentional culture around, like, providing an experience. Like, literally, when you said that, I immediately thought, like, at Disney, they don't call the employees, they're cast workers. Like they're cast members, you know, like, that, like, everyone is an actor. Everyone is a cast. Like, no matter what you're doing, you are part of building this experience. And I think it's a business case study for anyone, of, like, whatever you do, like, can you build an experience around it? You know what I mean?
I mean, I would even add, like, there were moments when I was creating, like, man, the concierge coach, this flows, it sounds good, the luxury, this high end, and there was almost this kind of, like, imposter syndrome, or, like, fear or worry of, like, oh man, is this too much? Is this, you know, too? But I mean, to be honest, like, to find your niche, to really, like, sit down and think about the language that's going to represent your character, your personality, the vision of the business, and the impact that you want to create through your work. Because that, I mean, to be honest, that is the higher end niche of opportunity to add a concierge care and service to, you know, a platform of people that are busy and on the go, and need to be met where they're at, not, you know, passed around somewhere else and have to delegate and make a lot more decisions. It's like, man, we already come with kind of the solution and answers for them to be able to say yes or no, and to care for them in a concierge way. And so, I mean, as someone talks through and thinks through that impact that they want to make, really make sure it's within the niche and type of that the clientele or the audience that they're wanting to reach.
Yeah. No, I think I mean, I can tell y'all sat down with it and really was like, okay, here's who we're serving. Here's the language that they would relate to, right? Here's the experience that they would want, and you craft an experience. Yeah. I think we can, unintentionally, you know, you attract what you put out, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like if you're not getting a giving out a top-notch experience, you're probably not going to attract top-notch, high-paying clientele. You know what I mean? Like,
and then the right team members to come join you to help cast and grow that vision. That's hard. Finding good people that you have a vision so big that they can see themselves within it, and see the value that they can add in it, for sure.
I love that. And you have a great team. Yeah. Like, they embody that culture. For sure. I can tell that you started. So, man, again, the faith to risk side, I admire about you. But then there's this generous side, and I've, you know, gotten to hear a little bit about your parents and the generosity that even they have, and for ministry and whatnot. But man, I would say I think that is something unique about you. I think it's also wise. I think that opens business opportunities, right? Like there's the scripture says, your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of the great. We use that word gift a lot of times of, like, oh, like your the calling in your life, or the you know, like, gift of to do music or to speak or whatever. like really like which you can't use it for that, but technically that word gift is like it's like a bribe.
Yeah.
Like the word literally means like bribe. So it's like there's something about like how generosity can open doors. You don't do it for that, but that's a principle in God's word.
Yeah.
I've just seen you have such a generous spirit, and I've seen it open doors, you know, of favor and opportunity. So, man, I'd love for you to just like share. How did that start? Did you always have a generous spirit like that, or like how did that begin?
Man, I appreciate that for sure. I'll accept that. Thank you so much. But man, yeah, I think it goes back to, I mean, I'm grateful for my parents. I've got 3 amazing, beautiful sisters as well. And man, just I kind of shared when we were talking a little bit before this, just the impact of like wise counsel of men in my life through Young Life and Disciple Now and church and getting into Young Life and going to camps and even then being a leader.
Yeah.
Even serving in school in the PALs, working with special needs kids. And it's just like there's so much joy and like purity and being able to be generous and to be kind to people. Like it's not hard to be nice and to be kind and to be honest with others. And so even just in the midst of this space, like having this podcast studio was more of kind of just a passion project that I wanted to do, to use kind of as a networking tool. My buddy Michael Child with Forward Film Co. His business was really growing, and he helped set up this whole place with me. And then it was like, man, what if we like have this space where other people can rent it and use it, and then just to see God's like path on then the connection that we've had. It's kind of a no-brainer. Like, why would we not want to do that? Why would we not want to share such a great space or generosity with others that we care about and want to see thrive and succeed? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. That's beautiful. That definitely does not come natural to most people.
Yeah.
And especially in business, because it's like in someone, I think the reason why greed is challenging for some people, because some of your hardwiring in being an entrepreneur is like, hey, like, okay, like, and not how we are raised here in America. Our mindset is very much like, hey, dog eat dog world.
Yeah. You
got to take what you can get, otherwise someone's going to eat your lunch. Like all these different things. Yeah. And again, like there's still principles to that. They're like not bad.
Yeah.
But like the Bible is very clear. I was just reading this on my vacation of like where it says the world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller, but the world of the generous gets larger and larger. Like there's just something where like God just expands your ability to receive as you give. This isn't a prosperity gospel thing. It's just literally it's just a biblical principle thing. It's like the more you are generous with your life, with your time, with your resources, God just like I think of the story of I was thinking of David when, you know, he took over and he looked for Jonathan's son.
Yeah.
Who was crippled, I want to say. I think he had, I forget what he had, but like he couldn't walk. He was a cripple.
Yeah.
And he thought he was going to kill him because like typically in those times, if a king takes over, everybody's head come off. You know what I mean? Like start over.
Yes.
And he's like, no, he's going to be in my house. Yeah. He's going to sit at my table and I want you to give him the blessings, the resources like he was my own son.
Yeah.
And I was like, I pondered that, and I was like, I think that's what we're called to do as kingdom business people, is to show radical generosity and kindness.
Yeah.
When the opportunity allows, when God leads to like, why? Like, just because that's just what we do. Like, and I feel like it's got to be ingrained in you. I've heard the phrase before, like you're never more like God than when you give, right? He gave his own son, right? Like, you know. So, anyways, I just think that is, if someone is watching this and they're like, man, how do I develop that, or how do I even learn how to develop the joy of that? Because like, hey, like I can't give right now, like I'm just starting, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't have anything to give. What would you tell someone like? Why it's essential and how to develop it?
Yeah, dude, I would say like God's given you gifts, given us all gifts, and purpose and passion. And what are ways that you see that being fruitful and working out into something fruitful within your work, within the way you steward your relationships, probably with your family and your friends? And how could you do that in a generous way? Like even just having this space in the gym, there's a beautiful fitness business called Special Strong, and they work specifically with young adults, kids, anyone that has a disability cognitively, and they train them and work out. And I have a background working with special needs kids and have a heart for that and a care and a soft heart for that. And they were looking for a place that was less stimulating and didn't have so much madness and dropping weights and clang and bang.
Yeah.
And they use our studio.
Oh,
And
that's
they have
awesome.
about 4 or 5 classes a week here out of our gym. But that's a way that I can gift and be generous with our gym space and not see a massive monetizing gain out of it. It's just because like God's blessed us with this beautiful place. Why not use it for more than just monetization?
Yeah,
You know?
so good.
And so even with this, it's like, man, we have team meetings in here. We have people in here as well that do other things with creation. And it's just like, use what God's already given you within your life, even if you can't give, whether that might be financially. But man, like, what are some physical strengths that God's possibly given you that you could use to be generous with and to really just feel that purity and sobriety of just giving?
Yeah, that's brilliant, and you're very practical. I think which I love of like it just breaking it down of like, yeah, what do you have? Of like for me it was like, in my beginning days it was like my photography, and doing videos. Like the Lord would put on my heart to like bless a ministry with a video. Like, hey, like I got you, no charge.
Yes.
Or bless somebody with photos or something like that. Hey, I got you. Like, because sometimes a really good video or really like great photography can just uplift a brand, and like that could be a game changing thing for someone to maybe be able to send a proposal out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it could be huge. And so or even different like family moments. Like I got to do that with I call her my little sister. She's not, but like she's basically family. I've known her since she was born. But I went to her college graduation. She doesn't even know the last time she's had professional pictures taken.
Wow.
Ever. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring my camera along with me.
It's a no-brainer.
Doesn't take me anything. I shot it. I edited it that night, and like just like the look on their faces of like, man, like we get to treasure this moment, especially because her dad is in heaven, went to be with the Lord, and it was just like we just got to treasure that. Like that cost me nothing, like just a little bit of my time, but like man, the joy that I experienced, the joy that it brought someone else. It's like I think a lot of times. And I think I've seen a lot of people. I've challenged, actually, to be fair, I've actually challenged a lot of business owners in their thinking around generosity, because I've seen a lot of people like, man, let me make my bag, then I'll be generous. Man, let me make a meal, let me get da, and then I'm a really, and listen, I have visions of that for sure. I want to write blank checks.
Of course. Hey,
100K here, boom, let's build this let's build this church. I'm here for it. But like you could be missing out on the joy of giving now. That like you can be doing. Like there's so much that you can do.
Man, I might have been on one of the other episodes. I listened to all of them.
You a faithful follower, bro.
Or from something else I read. I'm gonna kind of butcher this a little bit, but it was someone saying like, God, don't make me wealthy, make me a good steward of wealth. But wealth comes in many forms, man. Like
it does.
Of being healthy and having great connection of relationships and people, like strength. I mean, I joke with my sisters and friends, like, don't ask me to move any furniture because I have moved out of apartments and houses for all of my sisters because I'm the only brother. But at the same time, like, man, I was pretty strong. I'm not as strong as I was back then, but like using that, like that's there. As I look back, those are still fun times, and there was joy and silliness, and someone dropping or breaking something. But man, there's like the enemy wants to use that as stress and like, oh gosh, I'm gonna go take photos for my sister.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, you love them, you care for them, and you have a gift and what's the word I'm looking for? Like a trait that is so easy for you to do well.
That's
And
so
to
good.
like be able to generously gift that to someone is for someone else it might be hard. Like, man, I don't even know how to probably turn on the camera, but for you,
Right.
like it's second nature.
Yeah.
And so like that is from the Lord, I think, for sure.
Absolutely.
And to be able to give that generously to others is just, man, it's great. But the enemy wants to use it as like, oh no, don't do that. Oh well, no, it's not worth your time. Well, that's not fair to you. And it's like,
oh,
bro,
man,
what
hit
did
on
Jesus do? Like, look what he did. For
Listen.
you think he didn't want to get on that cross? You didn't think he like was sitting there talking to the Lord the night before, like freaking out, scared, and it's like, bro, I mean, he is the ultimate example. So you're telling me you can't just go take pictures real quick for someone that you love?
Yeah.
It's so it's just, man, that's what the enemy wants, and we can't do that.
That's a bar. I think, I mean that's what Hebrews 12 says. Consider him who endured the cross, right? Like,
Yes.
like for the joy set before him. Like, it like literally says, consider him. Like I can get emotional thinking about it. Like what Jesus did for me. Why would I not?
Yeah.
Why would I not? And again, the entrepreneurial kind of thing in us is like, man, valuing our time, which is great. You should value your time.
Yes.
Absolutely. You should get paid what you're worth. Absolutely. But there are moments where God places it on your heart to be generous.
100%.
And here's the thing. It's only taking from you, or it's only someone's taking advantage of you if you let it. And what I mean by that is like, you can't take this away from me if I gave it. It's like, no. Like, this isn't, I willingly am choosing to be generous.
Yeah.
So no matter how because that's some people are like, oh man, you don't want to give to the homeless, or you don't want to give to this because you don't know what they're gonna do with it, or and to be fair, maybe some people have been burned.
Yes.
But I would beg the question. It's funny, like I was talking to a mentor of mine. We were talking about a family situation, and I was like, man, like when I get around this certain family member, it's just really tough, and like I almost have to brace myself, and I'm hoping that they're gonna be doing this, and they treat me like this, and he literally said this. He said it in the most like beautiful way, graceful way, but he kind of convicted me a bit. He was like, man, we have a call. It's hard, but we have a call to love unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
That's conditional love. He was like, when you go and you go to see that family member, go with the mindset, I'm gonna unconditionally love them.
Yeah.
They can say whatever. Don't matter. I'm not even expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
And it's really hard because like naturally you want to see it's like you want to give something. Like that's why we give Christmas gifts, because like low key we want to see, like we want to sit back and be like, all right, do you like it? And like we want that reaction, but like that's not the example we have of Christ.
Well, yeah, and you said it's reactive. It's this ping pong back and forth rather than going in with, it's like, no, this is the plan. I plan to be generous with this. That is the gift enough. That is why.
Yeah.
Like I don't need anything in response or something back or a word or someone speaking over it of like giving me a huge shout out and a pat on the back. It's like, no, this was because it was from my heart first, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's what Jesus did.
Absolutely. And I would say from the time I've gotten to know you, I believe that's why the hand of God is on your life, is because you have that posture of like, man, God has given me so much. Who am I to hold back from the ability to bless someone else? And so what I'm wanting for this community is to grasp this, because I think that's going to be our calling card. I think that's going to be our difference maker, is our generosity.
Yeah.
Is the way that we freely give. And again, I'm not saying foolishly give, but I think like with unconditional love, finding moments, finding ways.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the whole reason why I got into business. Like, man, I'm blessed to be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether it's resources and finances, whether it's wisdom, some of us are holding back wisdom. And listen, in the world of coach, and I love coaching, like in the world of that, where it's like, hey, like to talk to me, you gotta give me X amount. I can't tell you how many calls I get on of like, hey, what podcasting was, what can I do? I'm like, all right, yeah, I got 20 minutes, I got you.
Yeah.
Let me. I would do this. I would do this.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've had people ask for prayer for. Praying for a business opportunity, or and I'm just kind of giving them wisdom from the Lord. Or I mean, the times that people have asked me, "Hey, do you know someone?" Like I mean, you know, I'm constantly texting, putting people in text stores. Y'all need to meet. Y'all need to have. You've been looking for this. This is a guy. Like, it's not taking from me. I'm not, because I could, you know, there could be something like, man, I don't get anything from that. It's like, no, like I do. I get the joy. That I'm in the will of God, that I am serving and giving. It's like, no, like no one's taking that from me. I'm willingly doing this because it's my joy. Yeah. It's my joy to give because I have been blessed. Yeah, dude. God has blessed me with relationships. God has blessed me with certain skills, certain wisdom. Like, and again, it's not saying every person you do everything for free. It's just like, hey, like, the world of the stingy gets smaller. The world of the generous gets larger. It's like, I want God to expand my impact, my ability to make a difference. And so I'm gonna grow my capacity. And the way I grow my capacity is being more generous. Yeah.
Well, man, and I think that's a growth mindset, and I would even say ripple that's happening within the Faith Hustle network of like even just the first one I went to. Unfortunately I've had the FOMO of not being able to go to the other ones, obviously with having the baby
of course,
and other schedule things. But man, like just the people that were in those rooms, I told you like that night that was the first time in a long time where like I just felt the spirit so vividly and so just like, man, it is here. Like I can feel it, I can see it, I can sense it through the conversation, through the people. And it's like, man, what if within that Faith Hustle network, it continues to grow, Lord willing it is, and it will continue to grow. And the people within this network of the Faith Hustle just become so generous and connectors. And you just see like the lines of just connection that bears fruit of opportunity and business and generosity and giving. And man, it's contagious.
I love it. I love it, man.
Contagious for the kingdom.
Thank you, man. I mean, that's the heart. And I think for any person watching, you have something to give more than what you think.
Yes.
And I think it's just asking God, what is that thing? And again, it's not even with the standpoint of like, all right, if I do this, what if I get out of it?
Yeah.
You know, obviously we know promises in Scripture, right? He opens the windows of heaven, pours out a blessing on us. But man, we've done service. I've done camps. I can't tell you how many camps I've done. Mission trips I've done. Any mission trip I've gone on, I always felt like I was the one that got the bigger end of the stick. Where I'm like, man, I felt like y'all gave more to me.
Yes.
And my soul and my heart than I could have ever gave.
Yep.
And that's again, I think that's why the beauty of generosity. And so, man, I just want to say thank you for being on, man. I don't know if you want to plug anything that's coming up next in your guys' world. I know we kind of teased it in the beginning, but by the time this comes out, I'm pretty sure it's going to be already announced from you guys. But what's coming up for
no, man, we shared it. Just the expansion of our studio and our space and the gym design business growing. I'll be adjusting kind of my podcast here in the future. I don't want to share too much on it yet as I'm still figuring it out. And still bringing to life some of the branding and the visuals for it. But then, our Lux Creative Space is going to be insane and beautiful, and I can't wait to share it with others and just to see other just beautiful content creation come to life for people to just bring vision to reality into life and just see what God's going to do through it. And then, man, I'm happy to connect. Like, I love having conversation of like, man, my hands are up. I'm still trying to figure this out. So if there's anyone out there in the network or part of the Faith Hustle that would just love to have a conversation, like, man, I'm happy to do that. You guys can share my contact info or my social media handles, whatever. And I would be happy to have a conversation, because I'm a huge visionary and I could talk vision and future all day, but also we got to come down to the reality of like, okay, now how do we take our next foot forward to make this vision possibly come to life? So,
I love that. Especially if you're in the fitness space, you have a desire to grow it, to scale it. I think absolutely take advantage of it. I'll put his social below. I'll also put a link to, hopefully by this time there will be something for you to sign up either on the wait list to use the creative space. If you got a podcast or you want to start a podcast or any type of content, I highly recommend this space here in McKinney. And so make sure you check them out and be a part of what's happening over here, Ben. But thank you so much for being here. And for real, like, more than you know, this has been such a blessing and an answered prayer of being a part of this space. Your generosity has blessed me and countless people. Yeah. And so,
but it all echo back what you just said. Like, I feel like I've got the bigger end of the stick, and just the relationship, the fruit, as I told you before this, that the impact that Faith Hustle has made on my life over this past year, and just it's been really, really great, and I'm awesomely grateful for it. So thank you, bro.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Faith Hustle Podcast. We hope you felt challenged, encouraged, and equipped to walk out your faith hustle. And if you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on YouTube or any audio platform. As well, leave us a review. It helps us so much in our ratings so we can get the word out to more people. Each week we have these conversations with business owners who build their business God's way. And so we look forward to growing with you on your faith hustle journey. We'll see you next time.